Are you shooting in between your hunts to stay dialed?
Is this a question for me, or is this something?
It's just something I'm
you're
putting out in the universe that I
you're
think,
diving right in.
yeah. Are you
I
shooting? Do
wasn't
you
ready.
shoot?
Hold on. I gotta
Oh,
there.
I don't
Not
have
an
anything
ad.
to open.
It's not an ad. I'm gonna copy Andy Frisella here. It's not an ad, but if I was advertising for the first generation bow hunter, you should go grab some first form energy drinks.
Oh my gosh. We spell it differently because you guys use the number one. Maybe I should have.
Yeah.
No, I like it spelt out. I'm old
Yeah.
fashioned.
Yeah, but you would have had to do like generation with, I don't know, what's another way to spell without a G.
Ugh. Well, you'd have to remove all the freaking vowels and consonant. Yeah, doesn't work.
Too complicated. All right, so back to your question. Yes, I do. I shoot as much as I possibly can. I used to be really good about shooting every single day. I
Yeah.
shoot multiple times a week at this point, not at distance. I wish I could, but I don't have all of that free time. But I do have a Morel target that I use, and I trust the foam enough that it's not going to punch through, and I just have it up in my garage. And sometimes I'll shoot flat, sometimes I'll shoot down at an angle at it, just kind of from my steps in my garage down to the ground, kind of deal. But not too worried about aiming, more getting the reps in, feeling how it feels at up angle, down angle, flat. Not quite blank bailing because I don't close my eyes because there's some valuable stuff around my target that I don't want to hit. But
What's a blank bail? I've never heard of this.
yeah, so blank bailing is when you go in and you have a target that's like 5 feet from you. It's like going into a bow shop and shooting the bow.
Yeah.
But you close your eyes and just feel. So like you get back to full draw and you feel. And there's a lot of good reasons to do that. If you have a big enough target, like if I had a wall of foam,
Yeah.
then I'd be cool with that. Or someone else kind of making sure I was aimed at the target, then I'd be cool with that. But I just have the little Morel target. That's,
Yeah.
it's good enough, but it's not good enough for blank bailing, in my opinion. But yeah, it's just to get, a lot of people do it just to test their stabilizer. So they get to full draw, or they'll close their eyes, get to full draw and anchor, and then they look at their bubble, and whatever way their bubble is,
Yeah.
after multiple times of doing that, then they mess around with their stabilizers or their quiver or something like that to get the balance naturally right.
Okay. See, I learn something new all the time. This is why I have great guests like you on. We're
Yeah,
just picking up.
I am no expert, guys. I will never pretend to be, but I like to have fun, and I've been shooting bows for a handful of years now, and I like to tinker. So
Yeah.
I've learned a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Johnathan is here with us. He's with REDBEARD Outdoors. And I mean, you're legit, dude. Your beard in person is like, it's the best. It's like, dude, you're the guy I'd call to like tow myself out of a ditch, man. Like, yeah, like I trust REDBEARD. I'm like, yes. So he's got a great podcast, REDBEARD Outdoors. And how long you been doing that podcast? You've been at it for a while.
Yeah, a little over 3 years now. The podcast has been a little over 3 years. The YouTube channel is about a year and a half at this point.
Yeah.
Which is mainly just an extension of the podcast. But yeah, no, it's been fun. I'm at 380 some odd episodes.
Yeah, man. And what really made you want to start it?
Yeah, so just starting the podcast was honestly, if I could just like go and talk to people and then dump all the stuff on someone else to go post and do all the editing and all that crap, I would, because that's not the fun part for me. Some people really love that.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, no thanks. Like I like having cool conversations, meeting people, messing around with gear, tinkering, and talking about the gear that I like. And that's really what the podcast is. And so I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole of YouTube full time, because there are some amazing people out there that do fantastic work. And as I started to figure out what it requires to get to that level of stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of money and time I don't have right now. So
Yeah.
I'm going to start a podcast, because that costs a $60 microphone and some of my time.
Totally.
And we'll get started there. Yeah.
No, that's cool. And then it just went from there, and you've built this like cool community, and you can join like REDBEARD's community. You have like a group of people. You've got the First Form community, and First Form is something too, just to touch on that for a second. My first interaction with First Form was at a total archery challenge, and they just handed me this bottle, like like a clear white bottle, like a clear
Yeah,
bottle of
Walmart
water.
water bottle.
And yeah, and it's just like your average Joe Walmart bottle of water. And they dump in the protein powder, and I'm like, all right, Clump City, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And
No
it,
shaker ball in it. No nothing to
no,
split up the
nothing.
powder. Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. And they shake it, and I'm like, all right, whatever. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, where'd it go? Where'd the powder go? It was the craziest thing. And then I drink it, and it's like thinner than milk. Like it was the weird, and it's not like they like, oh, we're gonna do half a scoop because it's such a small water bottle. First form is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We gave you, if I remember correctly, we gave you 2 scoops of protein, and it was either a half scoop or a full scoop of ignition, which is the carbohydrate source that we use after, is basically post workout.
Yeah.
Carbohydrates and electrolytes mix in ignition, and then 2 full scoops of protein. So you got 40 grams of protein in there in 10 ounces of water, shaken up without a shaker ball. And the way you're describing it, I mean, it's crazy.
40 ounces of protein. I mean, that's
40
like,
grams. Yeah,
sorry,
40 grams of
40
protein.
grams.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Man, I mean, when I'm at like the Maverick gas station and I see like those protein things, I mean, it's like $5 for
Mm-hmm.
42 grams of, can't even think of the name. So man, 40 grams, that's super cost effective to get protein.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
So first
Yeah. And I
form, you
think,
guys,
if I remember correctly, you got the Thin Mint, or was it root beer?
man, your memory is insane. It was the Thin Mint.
Yeah. Because I remember we offered you the root beer, and you were like, I'm not much of a root beer float guy, but. And you're like, I'll try Thin Mint. That's a different flavor. I think I remember you saying something like that. Yeah.
Which I'm not. I hate root beer floats.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
there's root beer and then there's ice cream. Why did we decide one day
I think
that
I remember you saying that too. Yeah.
it's like, why did we need to merge these two? I think they're fine on their own.
It's delicious.
It's for those freaking 5-year-old birthday parties. Is like, how that
protein after a workout that takes you back to when you were 5.
Yeah. I think some mom invented it. I think she was like, oh crap, all I have is root beer and ice cream. And then she spilt it and it went in the ice cream cup or something. Like something got spilt. Root beer floats were done by accident. Those things they're awful.
Here's the cool thing though about that flavor. It actually gets like that little bit of foam at the top.
No way.
It does. Dead serious.
What?
I don't know how they did it. Yeah, it's ridiculous. There's some, while we're on the rabbit hole of flavors here, we just came out with a peanut butter jelly flavor.
No way.
If you're a grape jelly fan, go take it out. Go test it out. If you're not a jelly fan, we have peanut butter.
Okay.
And we have strawberry flavor. You have to buy the tub separate. And that's where this came from. So when they came up with the peanut butter flavor, right? Jake Arvold over there at First Form, you guys have probably heard of him if you're listening to this and know about First Form Outdoors. He's kind of the face of it. He started it back in 2020 is when I jumped on board and kind of helped grow from outside of headquarters. And he's the main dude at headquarters. But anyway, he's got all these funky mixtures, guys. Like, and I'll go down the rabbit hole of some of those too. But he started doing, when we came out with the peanut butter flavored Formula One, which is the isolate protein for people that know the difference between full whey concentrate and isolate. It's the isolate protein. So we have peanut butter, and then we had a strawberry, and you mix 1 scoop of each into the bottle. It tastes like a peanut butter and jelly with strawberry jelly. And then they came out with the flavors, the new flavor of peanut butter jelly, and it's the grape. So now you have both options. You either get the solid tub of peanut butter jelly with the grape flavor, or you get the 2 separate tubs and mix it together to make that. It's freaking delicious. Other thing too, with the strawberry, we have strawberry, chocolate, vanilla. If you're into that I hate to say fake, but
it's like basic flavors.
The non-natural flavorings, if you're into avoiding those, we have strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla flavored proteins that don't have the fake flavorings in them. So you can check that out if you're into the CrossFit, paleo, or just want to avoid chemicals kind of deal. And then the other odd mixture, I'm trying to remember. So if you do CTC, which is Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Loop de Fruit, which is Fruit Loops, you mix those two, you get Apple Jacks. Dead serious. That was my favorite cereal growing up. That was my favorite cereal growing up. And when I tried that, because I don't eat cereal anymore, when I tried that, I was like, dude, That took me back to freaking elementary school
My
in a heartbeat.
goodness.
And it's 40 grams of protein, right? And it tastes like that. And then the other one is if you mix the root beer and a root beer float and cherry lime, which that's a seasonal flavor.
Yeah.
You mix those two, you get Dr. Pepper.
Oh, do you have like a mixology hack thing on First Form?
It's a secret. It's a secret.
Is this insider
secret
stuff?
menu. It's a secret menu, kind of like at Starbucks and wherever else they've got secret menus.
Yeah,
like
in and
Jungle
out
Juice and all that. Yeah.
Man. Okay, so because I gotta. Okay, where can we buy First Form?
You just go through my link, you get free shipping for life, man.
Okay, we're gonna drop Redbeard's First Form link
and
down below.
If you want to know any more crazy mixtures, let me know. We've come up with some crazy stuff. I think this
Secret
will come out
menu.
in time for people to get. We've got pumpkin spice flavored protein, which now
Of course,
the new pumpkin spice flavored protein doesn't have any artificial colors in it, which is cool. We're trying to get down that route of getting away from chemicals as much as possible. So that's an option for that protein. And if you have a Ninja Creamy, it makes really good ice creams, like mixing the proteins in with what's that special milk called? Fair Life milk or something like that.
Life.
There's a bunch of recipes out there. And if you guys want any more recipes, then I'm very basic, but we got tons of recipes over on the First Form Outdoors Facebook group that people are constantly throwing in there. So
little
costs nothing to
mixology.
get into that group. You should definitely get into that group. It's a lot of fun.
Okay,
Even if you don't use First Form.
Yeah. If you make the ice cream, we should put it in my freeze dryer, my Harvest Right.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be next level. Like next level backpacking, backcountry hunting treats.
We should have a party at Black Ovis. I'll just bring a bunch of different flavors and bring my Ninja Creamy and do an ice cream party.
Dude, just like we could like on cocktail, like be throwing bottles, you know, like
Exactly.
What do you want? But you got to tell Jake, if you're going to be naming flavors, I'd appreciate a phone call if possible. Cause I know I'm at the top of your guys' list. Cause I just really am getting acquainted with this, but obviously I'm, a peon. I want to name a flavor and I want to name the peanut butter and jelly. And this is what I want to name it. I want to name it preschool lunchtime, I think is what it should be named.
Lunchtime.
So
I love it.
More of these names and more, please follow First Generation Bowhunter and contact me, please.
So the energy drinks, if you get a box of energy drinks, on the bottom, it actually says the best. I think I'm going to misquote this, and sorry, Andy, if you ever listen to this podcast, I don't know if you will, but probably not. He's too busy, but
too busy.
On the bottom, it says something like the best damn energy drink in the entire world or something. It's like on the bottom of the box in bold letters, but they couldn't fit it on the can. So they just did First Form Energy, So,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
And the energy drinks, no sugar, all natural.
Yeah. 200 milligrams of caffeine from natural sources. No sugar. This one's got 15. So it's between 10 and 15 calories per thing. Yeah. And, obviously I'm Mormon, so we don't drink coffee. We just get hyped up on energy drinks. So,
there you go. That's right. No, that's so true. I love it. Well, let's start diving in some hunting, but the First Form, I always see you're promoting them, and I do appreciate a little background there. And I do appreciate the secret menu. I think that's pretty cool. It's funny bringing out all those kids cereals, and I don't mean to bash root beer float, but it just comes out naturally. I'm sorry. The natural bashing of root beer float flavors. I'm sorry. So you've been out a few times now, and you've got a son with a tag you're trying to help. What's that process like, trying to get your son to tag out? I mean, does your patience level have to go higher because you're like, okay, I gotta tell me about that experience.
Honestly, I keep letting him choose what he wants to do because honestly, if it was my choice, we would have been sitting for elk on opening day. That's my thing. I would have been sitting water for elk on opening day here in Utah. We've got some spots that I know about, wallows, water holes, and such that would have been great for it with it being so hot. But I asked him. I was like, look, my main thing is elk in September. Wants mule deer, so I was like, great. Like that's what we'll do. We'll go for mule deer opening day. Our area is just right here close to where we live. And so that made it simple.
That's great.
which actually turned out to be great because the weather was awful opening weekend and the following weekend. And so we still went out. We had a great time. We hiked to where we needed to go. He took a nap because, that's just what you do. He woke up super excited, woke up before me, was ready before me, was even kind of giving me some crap because I told him to be up by a certain time because I was thinking he would probably sleep in a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was up and ready half an hour before I was. So I was like, wow, okay,
Jeez.
cool. Super excited about that. He did glass. I was showing him how to pick out deer and stuff, the few deer that we did see. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it hasn't been a test of my patience at all. Even again, and this is the thing with parents, like if you're genuinely in it to be the best dad, or maybe your mom taking your kids out to hunt, you realize that your priority no longer matters at that point. Like you are no longer the priority, they are. And so once I said that, I'm like, look, I'm good. Like he literally, because of his youth tag, he can hunt from that opening weekend in August all the way through mid-December, various elk and deer tags, and
Yeah.
he's got all that time in the world. So we have all the time in the world. I'm not concerned about it. And
Yeah.
so it all started with the fact that, I told him if he's going to go archery hunting with me at all, I need him to stack broadheads at least 40 yards. And that was a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And so when he said he wanted to do it, I said, great. So we got him some arrows, thanks to Victory, one of the partners of my show. They sent out some arrows for him, and I made him cut them with using the mod saw that you and I have talked about. Just did them out in the garage. We measured it. By measuring it, I drew back his bow, had him mark the silver Sharpie where we wanted to cut it at. And then we measured the mod saws of that. And then he cut his dozen arrows. I made him square them all. I made him glue in the inserts, and I made him fletch them. So I was like, if you're going to shoot a deer or an elk with your bow, these are my requirements.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it for you.
That's cool.
So I was there with him. I was working out in the garage while he was cutting arrows and stuff. Just out there if he had any questions or needed help with the fletching jig or any of that. And then we went out, and we got the first sight tape. Then he started to get tired. So then I went out and reaffirmed the sight tape. It changed by a yard or two just because he was tired on the previous session out there. And then on the third session, I said, great, we're going to screw in a broadhead. I let him shoot a broadhead at 20. So just one shot, broadhead at 20, field point at 20. He was right within an inch of each other, enough to be human error, not the broadhead screwing up the flight.
Yeah.
And then we went back to 30, same thing, 40, same thing. And then I wanted to shoot. So I brought my bow out and I said, all right, you get one shot now. I'm not shooting field points. I know they're flying together with your field points. You're good. Now I brought out a deer target, a foam target. And I told him, because there's no circles or lines or anything that you can really see on this target, I'm like, now you don't have a dot to shoot at. This is where you want to shoot. And I showed it to him on the target. And I took him back to 40. And I said, you get one shot. And I'm going to shoot my 3 shots into the target, get my group, make sure I'm good to go. We'll walk up and pull arrows. And he shot until his arm couldn't hold the bow up anymore.
Wow.
And then that's when we left. And so I was just giving him that one shot with a broadhead at 40 yards every round.
Yeah.
And he was putting it where it needed to go. So at that point, I said, great, it's opening weekend. You can go out with me. And that's when we started doing it.
That's really cool. I think what's cool too, and what I pick up from you, is how your kids probably look at you too, of like all the things you're doing. And so, you kind of share that story of like, yeah, it's pretty natural. It's coming together, and it's not like a massive test of patience. But I also think that speaks to volumes of like all the years of a good example you have been as a father. And I know that's something you talk about a lot on your podcast too, and something to tune in on Redbeard, of just like the multidimensional side of the outdoors. And that's something I really appreciate from your viewpoint, and just kind of being around you and stuff. It's like, all right, there's more to this than just flinging arrows and whatnot. So I think it's pretty cool. But do you feel pretty?
The other thing too, real quick, is just like before we even went out, I told him, I said, look, what's the caliber of buck that you're wanting to shoot? Are you just going for anything that has antlers, or are you going for the most massive 4-point? Because you're not going to find that in our unit. Like that's just not our unit. It doesn't have that. And so I said, what's your goal? And he spelled out his goals for me so I could hold him to that as well when we're up on the mountain, and he gets excited because he sees the first thing with antlers and wants to shoot it. And I can remind him, hey, you told me, so it's not my goal, it's his goal. I'm just there to remind him.
Yeah. No,
Um,
that's cool.
and also, you know, I've had him shoot in wind and all of that, like all the things. And so we went up again, opening weekend, helped him glass. You know, I pointed out when I would find a deer, I'd give him a general area of where it was and let him figure out how to see it, you know, how to
Cool.
stand out over grass or brush or anything. And then the following weekend we went out and it was windy as all heck.
Mm,
This last weekend was just crazy, nasty windy. And, and I looked down and I was like, we probably, honestly, you're not going to see much.
yeah.
You're What we are going to see is maybe doe and some fawns because their fawns got restless and couldn't lay down and weather the storm. Like the bucks are not going to be up and moving right now. It's just a matter of fact. It's just too windy, and there's not a lot of shelter in these areas. And I said, "Do you still want to go up?" He's like, "Yeah, why not?" He said, "We're not going to find them at home." I said,
Yeah.
"Great, perfect." And so we went up, and he weathered weathered the wind, which again goes back to make sure your kids have gear. Like, don't be all decked out in the nicest, fanciest stuff, and then leave your kids with the Walmart gear
Yeah.
because they're going to be miserable. Their feet are going to hurt. They're going to be cold. They're going to, wind burn or whatever. Thanks to Black Ovis, he's got a couple layers. Cryptech as well sent out some stuff for him. I picked up some boots. We went and bought some boots and got them fitted over at Black Ovis.
Nice.
And so all of that, like he's got some awesome gear, right? So
Yeah.
that helps as well. Just another tip for parents, like don't skimp on the kids' stuff,
I
make
know.
them feel like they're cared for.
That's cool. Yeah, my son giving him a pair of crispy boots was like a big moment for me. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, this is gonna, you start
Yeah.
hitting those miles and we're getting back to the truck late and you're just gonna have that little bit of an edge so you're not,
Mm-hmm.
totally falling apart. So
Yep.
yeah, it makes a huge difference. Talk to me about your setup. You're shooting a victory. You did a really cool episode on broadheads and just kind of
Mm.
did a massive breakdown. Definitely worth a listen there. But talk to me about kind of what you've got in the quiver this year.
Yeah. So on that bow right there is my Alpha X 33. It's 80 pounder. So I've got a little bit heavier arrow setup for that. I've got two arrow setups. One I'm going to be using for mainly out west stuff, and then the other one I've got whitetail hunts later. I went with a lighter setup just because I can screw in broadheads on the lighter setup. So starting with my heavy setup, um, I've got a Victory VAP TKO with I ended up going with four AAE 23s, AE Max 23s on the back.
Mm.
So those are the shorter profile vane. And so I went with a four fletch with a probably a 2-degree helic or offset to the right. And then on the back, I think it's an Easton knock because they just fit just a little bit better than the AE knocks for some reason on that 4mm. And then on the front, I have Evolution Outdoors does a glue in system because I'm not a huge fan of 4mm components.
Mm.
Now, this is me getting real technical, guys. For people that don't go way down the rabbit hole on components, most like Easton, Victory, etc., make a great component. If you don't shoot a crap ton, you don't have to worry about bending the componentry. Aluminum is sufficient. They're not going to give you cheap stuff if you buy the nice arrows. This is just something that I've chosen because I know that it's the best, and I want to be 100% confident in my equipment. And so, for 4mm arrows, my favorite thing is a glue-in style system. I know Iron Will makes a great one as well. And then I'm really good buddies with the guys over at Evolution Outdoors. Dale, the owner, is fantastic. Well, I killed that bull right there with an Evolution mechanical last year, and it was a screw-in broadhead. So I wanted to try their glue ins on the 4mm system.
Mm.
And it is between the mechanical and the fixed head, you can interchange the heads. Even on the glue in system, you just take a little set screw out, you pull the mechanical heads out, and put the fixed blade in its place. And it's the Jekyll and Hyde system for people that
Oh,
are looking that up.
interesting.
And then so the glue end goes down into the arrow about this much or so, and so there's a steel shank that goes through the middle of the arrow, so that stiffens up the front of the arrow. It's not going to bend on you because it's steel. And the collar that goes around the arrow, I should just have an arrow here. Let me
I
grab an
know.
arrow.
I was just looking at my little toolbox here of broadheads and things. I don't have them with. They're not in this box,
I got
but
2 broadheads. Or my 2 arrow setups. Okay.
yeah.
All right. So going back to the back end. So there's the Easton knock right there.
Is that the X knock?
I think so.
Okay, that is the best
Doesn't say on
knock.
it.
That is the best knock of all time. Like, seriously, I don't care
Yeah.
what I'm using. I always have X knock. Like, seriously, probably in here, I've got a batch of X knocks. Yeah, right here. I've got X knocks with me at all time. They're just the best. And it sounds funny, like to think like, oh, knocks or whatever. But man, you do this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
If you got knocks popping out, ugh,
Mm-hmm.
give me a break.
Yeah, or the fitment on your center serving. You can always change your center serving. I didn't want to go through and do that on my bow, so these just fit better than the AE ones. I love the AE knocks too. They're really great. These just seem to fit just a little bit better. And so those little 23s on the back there, there's 4 of them with a little. You can see kind of the helical that's on there.
Yeah, where's my arrow?
And then these are the VAP TKOs. These are 300 spine.
Yeah.
And then there's the collar and the mechanical up front there. So that collar right there, the green is aluminum. He makes a steel one that is silver to match the steel here. The steel one I think is 30 grains. This one's 10 grains. So I didn't want the extra 20 grains up front, so I went with the aluminum one. Even though I keep telling him, I'm like, dude, I'm not a green guy, because then I start to look like a real Irishman, and so I can't do a lot of green. I just look like a little leprechaun. But either way, green is kind of his color, so they've got the green ones, and then that opens up to almost a 2-inch full mechanical, and then right there on that side of the head is I call it a mini iron will.
Yeah.
But it's basically a hybrid head, and that is my favorite head.
Interesting.
Right there.
Yeah, we carry Evolution at Black Ovis. Yeah, we've been pretty happy with them. So what's funny about your fletching, this is mine right here. I'm gonna do your little hand trick here. Look at that. So this, I feel like we're twinners. I've got a AAE Max 4, and
you went with the big guys though.
Oh, you're smaller.
I think yours are the 26s, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so these
we're
are
not
the 23s, so they're a little bit smaller profile.
That's right. Okay, I remember now. I saw the lines through it. I was like, oh my gosh, like we did shoot tack together. Well, you were shooting something else, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd tinker too much to. Yeah.
You're like, what week are you asking me? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Now that I'm hunting, this is my setup. Okay. I'm not changing it.
Okay.
But ask me after hunting season, it'll be different again.
Yeah. No, for newer bow hunters too, like when you talk helical and all these, I mean, this was like Japanese to me when I was getting started. I mean, I'd go to Walmart and I'm like, $4.50, sweet, Carbon Express. That sounds deadly. Yeah, sign me up. It's got a mossy oak logo on the side of it. Like, I'm in. So yeah, I think that next level of kind of elevating your bow hunting experience is getting into some type of helical. And maybe it's not that, but more of asking questions and being like, okay, what's that next thing I can do versus stock fletchings out of the box. Okay, great. And then you just kind of deal with it.
And that's the thing. And I think it was Dudley that just went on his podcast and talked about it. Like, and he obviously has a branded arrow from Easton, but he even said, he was like, look, Carbon Express arrows, they will work. It's when you start getting into the minutia of maybe you're shooting further than 50 yards or even 40 yards. You're wanting to be even that more precise. You start going down the rabbit hole of tinkering and all of that. You obviously can't keep everything stock. And so, I'm not here to say that those other things don't work, because they absolutely do.
Yeah.
But if you want even better consistency, which is what I ended up doing with this, going back to the glue end system, is the hot melt that I use for this and that's what I love about the glue end, is it's hot melt. So I just have to heat this up. So I literally went in, and the arrow that I shot, my practice arrow that had the the broadhead on it, the way that was oriented, I oriented every single one of these broadheads the exact same way. So
Got it.
again, this is all getting into the minutia of things, but I want it to fly the exact same and take out as many variables as possible.
Yeah.
And so all I did was heat this up a little bit with a heat gun, sit it on the table, and just spun it with some pliers. I took the pliers and just kind of turned it a little bit because the heat heated up the glue on the inside, allowing it to soften and allow me to turn it. And then I got them all to match and just let them cool back down. And now they are all exactly the same. They're cut the same. They have the same components, same fletchings, same everything. And so now I'm completely confident in this. And I will say this arrow, not this one particular, but I did a 100-yard egg challenge with a buddy, and I haven't posted the video yet, but I stuck 2 arrows into the target with the egg on top. And the challenge is how many arrows does it take for you to hit the egg at 100 yards? So I get back to 100 yards, and I was just like, I'm feeling a little confident today. I said, he did it with a field point. I'm going to do it with a broadhead,
Oh
a
man.
fixed broadhead at 100 yards. I want
Jeez.
to see how this goes. I just want to see how my broadheads fly. And I shot my first shot, no joke. I was like, I can't see it. Did I miss the target? And I'm looking. I'm like, there's egg yolk dripping down the target. And so I run
What?
up to it, and my arrow was, no joke, in between those 2 arrows and had clipped the bottom of the egg with a fixed broadhead
100
with the
yards.
setup. I said, look, I'm packing it up. I'm done. My bow is tuned. I'm good to go.
I'm out.
And I'm not going to shoot an elk or anything at 100 yards, but it gives me confidence that if I need to have a follow-up shot, I can shoot it at
Yeah.
100 yards or 90 yards or 80 yards. I usually try and stick to 70 as my max for the first shot, but depending on conditions,
Yeah.
yada, yada, yada. But, yeah, so I know this setup's dialed 100%.
100 yards on an
least.
egg.
With
Wow.
a fixed broadhead.
And did you just get the Alpha X by Hoyt?
Yeah, so that's the Alpha X33.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm doing the Alpha X32.
Yeah.
And
I think it's like 30 3/4.
yeah. And I'm loving this bow. I describe it like Optimus Prime freaking semi truck. Like it feels like I'm bazookaing an arrow down range. That feel of the aluminum is stable. I really like it. I've really enjoyed it.
100%.
Yeah.
It's the aluminum is awesome, and it's really not that, it doesn't weigh that much more than the carbon.
Mhm.
And so I've got the Alpha X33, and then I've got the RX8. It's like 30 3/4. I think they call it the 30-inch bow, but it's really not 30 inches. It's almost a 31-inch, which I kind of like. That 31-inch fits really well, and I'll be using that for ground blinds or tree stands this winter, fall and winter, for whitetail. But yeah, I feel so dialed with that 33 that I'm going to take that one out.
Heck yeah.
So that's my glue in setup. And then, so that one comes in about 460, 470, somewhere in there. I can't remember exactly. I think it's like 465 total grains on that. I don't know my FOC, guys. You can ask me, I can go measure it, but like, I don't go down that rabbit hole. I kind of have a standard setup of how I like it and what flies good. And I think I generally land anywhere between 15 to 20% FOC, if you're wanting to know.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't really like. I tried a whole bunch of different fletching styles, and then once I found the ones that flew best for me, then I stuck to that, and then I tinkered with the next thing.
Yeah.
The next thing on that arrow. So, but this right here is my lighter arrow, which is the 400 grain arrow. So this one has a screw-in head, which this is the iron wheel, wide single bevel, 125 grain.
Those iron wheels are gnarly looking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll take that off.
So talk to me about the bleeders. Like I hear about these bleeders. Explain what this is, because people throw it out like, oh yeah, that fixed broadhead has bleeders. What do they do again?
I'm not a fan of a 2-blade per se.
Okay.
And here's why. So and my analogy here is you've got your skin, and then the second layer down here is muscle. right? And they're not attached. Like they're kind of attached, but there's a fascia there that allows it to move. Otherwise, you'd feel like it's same in your body. Like your skin's not technically attached like to the muscle. It's a whole nother layer. So when you got the hide and the muscle like that, you throw a 2-blade broadhead through there, you get
Mm-hmm.
this slit, right? Now inside, I'm not going to deny it. Inside, it does great damage. It shreds a lot, like it and it flies really good. But on the outside, you get this slit. What happens when it starts to run, which the elk or deer will do once you hit it?
Yeah.
This.
Kind of closes, overlaps. Yeah.
Yep. And that's why you get these cruddy, and that's a very rudimentary analogy there, but that's really what happens, right? And so I don't like 2 blades. And I was going to run iron wills when they first came out, but they didn't have bleeders. And so last year when he came out with the bleeders, I ran a 125 solid head with bleeders with a single bevel. Now the bleeders there are those little guys on the side. So it's almost a 4-blade. It's not technically a 4-blade because they're not full blades, but it's enough that it clips it that much more and opens it up more of a almost a square style hole or a trapezoid style hole rather than a slit like a 2-blade.
Oh.
And then what it means by single bevel is you can see that shiny part of the edge right there isn't on both sides. And so you can see, maybe it's not showing that
Yeah,
detail.
no, I
Sorry,
see it. Yeah.
my hands are dirty. I was messing around with a gun earlier and got a bunch of grease and crap all over it. But
Oh dear.
anyway, the so as it's going through, I match the bevel to the direction of my helical on my fletchings because
Interesting.
that's the way the arrow is going to be spinning. So I have a right helical on my arrows. So the
Yeah.
arrow's spinning to the right. You want the bevel to be to the right so they're not fighting each other, because once it gets through the thing with a single bevel is once it gets through the hide, it's going to keep spinning because the way the bevel is, it's going to force it to keep going and
Oh.
spinning. Versus a regular 2-blade with double bevel is very sharp and you're going to get some great penetration, but it stops spinning once it gets into an object that's providing resistance into it. Whereas this is going to keep going. A 2-blade, if it hits like this and it's a double bevel, it's just going to fly straight through, which is still going to cut a crap ton, but it's not
Yeah,
spinning and creating that trauma internally that a single bevel does. So,
man.
so I have those. If you ever really want to, as far as I could go way down like tuning and stuff, I have some amazing guys at Wild Arrow that tune my bow. I trust them a lot. So they tune it, and then, if I need any touch ups, I come back. But the way I really test the tune of my arrows to the bow and everything, I throw a honking wide broadhead on the front of it, the
Yeah.
one that's supposed to grab the most air, fly the worst because of that. And I throw it out at 60, 70, 80 yards and see if it groups with my field points.
Got it.
If it groups with my field points, then my bow is freaking tuned.
Okay.
And this one did. So you can see I kind of clip the edge on that side right there where
Yeah.
my pinky is, because I hit something hard in the target. But I'll just resharpen that. But this is my practice broadhead, and it groups great with the field points. So I know all my other heads that I'm going to screw on here between mechanicals and fix that I'm going to mess around with when I'm shooting whitetails this fall, they're going to fly great.
Dude,
so,
that's cool. I love that breakdown. Yeah, one thing I did want to mention too, especially for those listening, and look at your REDBEARD wraps. Man,
some blaze orange Cryptek with
cool.
the REDBEARD wrap and 3. These are the 26s.
Yeah.
So I've got the 26s with the First Form logo and Wild Arrow logo on them.
So that's more my style, the 26.
Mm-hmm.
I
went with a 3 Fletch with a 2-degree helical on that.
So one thing, especially for the first generation bow hunter audience here, is like when you get your bow tuned, and truthfully, I would venture to say that, tuning your bow is kind of left up to the experts, at least for me. I'm kind of like, I don't understand paper tuning. I understand it, but I don't understand how to do it. But one thing, when you come back home and you're flinging arrows and, the guy at the bow shop's like, okay, it's tuned, you're ready, is knock tuning. And this is something that, oh gosh, I was probably on year 4 or 5 and someone explained knock tuning to me. And I was like, what? what? That's crazy. So have you done much knock tuning here? Well, tell me about what your process for that.
So I actually don't do a lot of knock tuning on my hunting arrows.
Oh, got
Um,
it.
yeah, on my hunting arrows, I don't. On target, that's when I'm going to go even more down the rabbit hole
Yeah.
of that. But for fletch shines with knock tuning because you can literally turn the arrow however you want, and the fletching is very much the same. Whereas with a three fletch, if I were to turn this at all, then
Mm-hmm.
it could end up like that. I mean, this is what's called the cock vein on a three fletch, where you want that up, right?
Yeah.
That's why I put that a different color. And so if I knock tuned and one of my arrows was better this way, well, then I'm screwed because that's hitting my rest on the way out
Yeah.
versus the way I want it to come out like that. So um, I don't I don't necessarily knock tune. I just the way I do my hunting arrows is I start with like on victory, they're spine aligned. So they have that marking right there. I start with that up and um and I just fletch all of my arrows the same.
Got it.
Fletch them the same, and then I do the same thing on the front like I did with my glue ends. I've started using hot melt instead of just epoxy like I used to, or not epoxy, super glue like I
Yeah.
used to, fletching glue basically. Now I use hot melt so that I can do the same thing with this, where I turn all the broadheads the exact same on every arrow because I want them to fly the same.
Yeah.
So, for in my opinion, and for that first generation bow hunter, knock tuning is amazing, and I'd love for you to go down that because it is awesome. But if you fletch them all the same
Yeah.
and they're all the same, then you can get your sight adjusted to that same group. So
Makes
take out
sense.
as many variables as possible. But knock tuning is again great for that. And four fletch is, I mean, it's the all around best in my opinion. If
Yeah.
you don't want to mess around with too much helical, too little helical, how many, three, four, whatever. Four fletch is just like, that's a great starting point for anybody, um, because it will take any broadhead and not necessarily steer it, but it will manage any broadhead better than just about any other fletching job will.
Yeah. And I like how you're saying like how you're fletching your arrows and your process there. One thing I was going to look for is and talk about is the arrow ranking and knock
Okay.
tuning.
Yep.
So arrow ranking is you got 12 arrows and a dozen. So you put a number 1, 2, 3 up to 12 on the fletching. You just write it on. And again, this was something that no one had really taught me. And then it came down the line and I was like, oh my gosh. So, and what you're trying to identify is, are these arrows flying different among your dozen? And the other
Mm-hmm.
thing, and I'm looking for it and I can't find it on this arrow, and maybe they've taken them off, was there were serial numbers on
Mm-hmm.
the carbon. And so you get a dozen and you might get 5 with one serial number and 7 with another serial number. And I've matched those up, like grouped them, and pretty interesting how when they come off the same roll of carbon, that's how it explained to me. And they kind of fly similar. It's super interesting. But on
Mm-hmm.
knock tuning real quick, basically what's happening is you shoot the arrow. If you're kind of like, man, that's not really hitting where I want, and I know I can do better, or the arrows could do better, you just spin the knock to the other fletching there and kind of in that valley. And I've done it. I just did it the other day, and I zeroed in a few arrows. It was awesome. It's a
Yeah.
really like kind of bow hunting for dummies, you know, session where it doesn't take any equipment. You're literally spinning a knock.
Yeah.
So
And with that, like with target arrows, I would do that without fletchings because you're only like, if you're shooting indoor, for example, you're only shooting 20 yards
yeah.
consistently, right? And so that's all you care about is 20 yard. For me, I honestly I don't paper tune without fletchings on it.
Oh,
I don't even shoot it through paper, and I don't do a lot of paper tuning per se. I don't even shoot it through paper to see how it's doing right out of the bow until I've put fletchings on it, because the fletchings can also change the way the arrow reacts on the way out of the bow.
oh,
And so if you're throwing fletchings on it anyway to hunt with, put the right point weight on the front that you're going to be running, and the right weight on the back, which is your fletchings, or in this case, a wrap and fletchings if you go that route, on the back, and then shoot it through paper, and it will react the way that you need to. And I've seen it with nock tuning too, where I don't think Gold Tip does the spine alignment like Victory does. They have a different system. And so with Gold Tip, it would work really good to do your nock tuning, because then you are finding that kind of stiffer part on the spine. You don't really have somewhere per se that is consistently the same mark on every arrow, like with Victory, where they have the spine aligned. So I just fletch the cock vein on that spine alignment every single time, so they are all fletched the same. For you with
Oh,
nock tuning a Gold Tip arrow, you are finding that stiffer or weaker part of the spine, which is when they weave the carbon together. There is one line down the arrow that is just a tad bit thicker, which is the stiffer part of the spine on every single carbon arrow. Like, that's regardless of who says what. Um,
yeah.
there is going to be a thicker part of it. So that's what you're finding there with the nock tuning. And so
Yeah.
that works great.
That was
And you will
probably,
see it. The same arrow can give you a nasty tear in the paper,
yeah.
and then you turn the nock a little bit, and then it's a little bit less, and you turn a little bit more, and it's like bullet hole. You're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, it's the same arrow, but it reacted differently.
Yeah. So, yeah. And it costs you a lot of, or it saves you a lot of frustration
Mm-hmm.
and like
Yeah.
efficiency of time. But man, I got to tell you, that was probably one of the best explanations of like how spines are woven and arrows are made.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love that, because again, like as you go down this path, you start spending money on arrows and all these things. It's like, okay, what the heck did I just get into? Like, what's going on? And so,
Yeah.
um, again, but this is also probably the one of the most fruitful things in accuracy is spending more time on your arrows. Where when I first really was kind of getting started and like getting through that second, third bow, I was like, okay, well, what's the next bow? What's the next bow? And it's
Yeah.
like, bows are bows. I'm sorry to say it. I don't mean to simplify. And I love my bow, and I've made thoughtful decisions to get to that bow. But man, spending time on arrows, it's it's pretty darn important.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, with the big, I'd call it the big three. You got
Mm.
Gold Tip, Easton, and Victory out there. Those are kind of the big three. It's kind of like Matthews, Hoyt, and I guess Prime.
I was kind of
But
curious. I was like, who's your third?
yeah, yeah, I'd say Prime over Bowtech personally.
Really?
That's just me. But yeah, Matthews, Hoyt, and Prime are kind of
Mm.
up there for me. Bowtech's right there, and Elite is right there as well. They're great bows as well. But I'd,
Yeah.
I'd say kind of the big three for arrows: Gold Tip, Victory, and Easton. Guys, if you get the top of the line from each of those, they're going to be great. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of what are you wanting. For me, Victory allowed me to, the way that they weighted their rip TKOs is very light compared to all the other arrows in that same category from the other two companies. And so I just like that better. Whereas some people like the way that carbon is woven on Gold Tips. It's very straight and stiff in a directional stiffness
Yeah.
rather than woven like Victory. And Easton, if you're all US kind of person, Easton's made right here in Utah. They make a great arrow as well. So,
Yeah.
you really can't go wrong as long as you're not skimping out. You really do get what you pay for in arrows.
Yeah. That's true.
It's very true. You get better components stock out of the box as well if you buy the higher end arrows.
Yeah.
You'll definitely get better components right out of the box.
Man, I shot at the Easton Center for the first time the other day, and because it's pretty close to my
That's
work.
awesome.
Man, it is awesome. Like
Mm-hmm.
super. You're on that AstroTurf outside. It's like oh my heaven. I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is like top shelf archery shooting
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you ever
Yeah.
get the
It's
chance,
awesome.
anybody like make it out to Salt Lake out by the airport. Easton Center's pretty hard to beat, I'd say, indoor and
Mm-hmm.
outdoor. So the other one up by well, I guess more up by me is the Baku Center,
Yeah.
Weber.
Yeah. They've got
So
an awesome one up there.
pretty strong. They've got elevation too. You can be up on like an angle and shooting down and all sorts of cool stuff. Well, man, thank you. That was a great overview of arrows. I think it's something I actually just had a Gold Tip on the podcast. We were kind of diving into 4 mil, 5 mil, 6, and all the diameter. So I like this other lens because when you get through your first few dozen, you kind of hit this point where you're like, okay, what else is out there? Like there's
Mm-hmm.
what else could I be missing? Or you shoot with friends and they're like, well, here's what I'm doing. It's like this whole
Yeah.
hunting buddy effect. So no, I think that's
I
super
will
good.
say to the first generation guys out there, don't buy carbon arrows that are wrapped in camo. Don't do that because you will never find your arrow. And I personally, I like that you went with white, so I don't offend you by saying this, but
Yeah,
I personally like to throw white in there
yeah,
because it will show blood better than any other fletching, and it will let you know if you hit guts, heart, lung, liver, better than anything else.
yeah.
So if you run a wrap and you want different color fletchings, do some kind of white on your wrap. But I always like to have at least one white fletching in all of my setups, like this here too, just because it'll show blood and what kind of blood you're getting better than any other arrow. And I haven't killed as many animals as like half the people out there, but um, that is something that for me it stands out more than anything. So um,
I like that you
it
brought up
definitely
color.
helps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because for 3D, it's all about visual, like bright
yeah, you
yellows
want it to
and
look good.
pinks. Yeah, you want to look cute and for the
Yeah.
instas, but no, I've shot white for about 2 seasons now. But I was doing red and yellow for the longest time, red and
Mm-hmm.
yellow, and I don't even know how I got to that. I just kept telling Wild Arrow, I'm like red and yellow, and I'd bring it in. I'm like, here, make 12 more like this. I'm like, okay, and red is probably the worst color because it's hard to see red on red.
Yeah.
And then the yellow I do like, but I also like orange, like hot orange, the
Yeah.
neons. A neon on
Mm-hmm.
there is nice. I missed a grouse the other night. I'm missing a lot lately. Little sore point with me, but missed a
I
grouse the
didn't
other
say
day.
it. I have bit my tongue a couple
Yes,
times. There's some snarky comments where I keep
just
wanting to say
waiting,
like, yeah, I'm just
waiting
like,
for it.
my tongue's gonna be scarred up by the end of this podcast because.
But I had some neon orange and then a bright neon knock, X
Yep.
knock. And man, dude, it was all the way buried in the dirt. I mean, just the littlest thing was sticking out, but I could see it. And I grabbed the arrow
Mm-hmm.
and it
Yeah.
was fine. It was just all dirt. But yeah, color is a really good thought too. So I like that you called out the white. I have gotten a
Yeah.
gut shot before. Bright yellow,
Mm-hmm.
stinky. Oh, gut
Yep.
shots are
Green or covered in, yeah,
oh,
it's, yeah.
sick. So
I will
sick.
say stay away from blue on your setups, guys, because there's actual evidence showing that there are two things that stand out to deer. They can see really well on the ultraviolet perspective or the part of the spectrum.
Mm.
And so, blue, try to stay away from blue on your setups. And two is ultraviolet light. And so, there's a lot of the, what are they called? Detergents out there that use an ultraviolet or ultra. I see, keep saying violent, violet, ultraviolet, like brightener
Yeah.
to make your clothes stay bright instead of fading.
Mm.
Be careful with that on your hunting clothes, even camo, because if you wash it in that, it absorbs some of that ultraviolet, whatever they use to brighten up the colors. And deer can see that really well. Deer and elk can see that perspective really
No
well, and
way.
so it'll be like a glowing flashlight to them of like, hey, there's something odd here that's kind of glowing. Even if you're in full camo or dark clothes, whatever it is that you choose to wear, try and stay away from that on your hunting clothes. I've seen a couple of articles about that lately. So blue
Wow.
and your detergents on your hunting clothes.
Yeah, when I was at Cabela's, we launched a camo line for women, and
Mm,
it was very cool. It was a cool cut. Women loved it. It fit great, and we got good response. But all the seams were teal,
uh,
and then the label up here on the chest was teal.
mm,
And we were a few months into the launch, and someone's like, "Wait a minute, why did we use blue? Why did we use teal? Like that's the one color deer can see." And we were trying to
mm-hmm.
get away from pink because pink it and shrink
Yeah.
it is kind of an industry thing with women's clothes. And oh man, like I think they lasted a season and then they flipped it and found a new
Mm.
color. And but that was always a bit of an insider industry joke of like, oh my gosh, like we picked the one
Yeah.
color that is the worst.
The
So,
bright, yeah, it'll stand out like a neon sign for
oh,
them.
it's like,
That's
hello,
funny.
we're over here. Well, you're saying that, and look at the side of my arrow. My kinetic is blue.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to see the
They're
side
not
of
going
the
to see
arrow.
that. I get
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
so you think, so the theory is if I've got a blue fletching, they could potentially see that and duck it.
I mean, potentially. That's so small. Like, I'm just
Yeah,
saying, there's people that have like blue all over their bow or
sure.
blue, blue hat or, but the main thing is the ultraviolet. And I didn't think about that, but the ultraviolet brighteners in detergents.
Man.
Um, I already don't really I don't dry my hunting clothes because a lot of them are merino and I don't want it to shrink and all that
Yeah.
stuff and ruin the merino. So I hang dry them, but I didn't think about the detergent being something that our
Jeez.
eyes can't see. And so that's just something to think about. They can't see the red light. That was something that I think that's how we got on that, or that podcast I was listening to got on that subject, was that
Yeah.
red light headlamps are fine. Like they can't see the it's not ultraviolet. It's the red spectrum
Yeah.
of
Red
the
spectrum.
light spectrum. But on the opposite end with the blue, they can see that really well.
Well, and even like I'm a little insecure now of like you look at my quiver and I got a bunch of blue arrows seeing on the side. So when I'm walking through,
Oh no.
you know, or the blue fletchings, right? If I did all blue
Yeah.
fletchings,
Yeah.
so it's okay. I've got some like paint for my kids' craft kit. I'll just paint over
That's
it.
really what happened with that deer.
That's what happened. No, man, that deer, I had all the time in the world. I mean,
Yeah.
he was staring right at me, and it was me. I was just like buck fever, freaking out, and I was just, oh, I should have
Yeah.
slowed down. Oh, anyway, but
Yeah.
dude, I love it. I love the insider tips because these could be game changers for somebody on their hunt. Like, oh, I was wearing this, but I'm thinking quiver, a
Mm.
quiver full of arrows, and someone tromping through, and they're like, well, I'm not even knocked up yet. It's like, well,
Yeah.
yeah, but you got a lot of blue on you, and
Yeah.
it looks
Exactly.
cute, but I don't like the BYU Cougars. Sorry, I'm a Ute. I'm a Ute fan. Sorry, I went to the U. I got to
Yeah.
switch things
That's
up.
awesome. That's
Well,
awesome.
man,
Well,
yeah,
I don't think I tried to remember to tell you this. I've got 10 more minutes and I got a hard stop. I got to get the kids
yep,
from school off to
you're good.
dance. So shoot me with the hard questions or whatever else you want to bring up here.
No, you're good. Last tips for just getting out and as you go into your next hunt. What are things that you kind of do last minute of just tightening things up and going out to have a good successful hunt?
Dude, I do everything last minute. That's a bad question. I'm still getting stuff thrown on my roof rack this afternoon, actually, and we're
Yeah,
leaving on Saturday. But no, my I mean, last minute things. I would just say bring a target to camp, unless you're backpacking in. Like,
yeah,
and even then, I would still recommend bringing like an arrow that has like the little thumper head on it, so you can
mm-hmm.
shoot a stump or something, and it doesn't like stick into the stump. Just so you can confirm that your bow hasn't got knocked around. Even if you have the top of the line, everything,
Yeah,
and you've Loctited everything, and you're sure, I still recommend that because any elevation change could possibly take or give a yard on your sight. All of those things are things that can help you avoid. But mainly, yeah, shoot your bow wherever it is that you are hunting. Don't shoot like when you buy broadheads. Okay. Even with like these, for example, these mechanicals,
yeah,
plan on buying at least a head, if not at least three fixed versions. So the fixed version of this, to use one of them in your target. I don't recommend shooting mechanicals into targets, but
yeah,
get some kind of fixed head. If you're shooting mechanicals, get a fixed head that you can shoot into a target, because you need to shoot your broadheads and get used to shooting your broadheads before your hunt. If you have fixed heads, plan on using at least one of them as just straight your target head, because little things like this can happen. Like on this iron will, where it got chipped right there in the corner.
yeah,
That can happen. I don't want to shoot that through an elk. And then, of course, as you're shooting it through foam, it's dulling the blade. So
yeah,
either, I just, instead of worrying about having to sharpen it up, I'm like, that's just my practice head. I mark it. That's my practice head. And that's it. That's something that I recommend to people as well. And then, other things, just have like a minor repair kit available. You may not be able to press your bow out in the field, but basic things like tying a D loop, know how to tie a D loop, or at least have a card that shows you how to tie a D loop.
yeah,
Have some stuff like that you can do some minor repairs on your bow. some tools and things like that available.
That's
And
great.
then, I'm just trying to think as far as, I'm bad for overpacking. I always overpack and I end up
Yeah.
not using half the stuff I pack in. So I'm going to be better about that this year.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much what I would say is just get used to shooting. Oh, shoot under pressure.
Mm.
Find a way to induce stress into your shooting experience. And so, whether that's having friends that are just funny to shoot around and try and get you to laugh while you're at full draw, all the way to like hitting you with things. We do that in our group. Like they'll stick an arrow between my legs and kind of whacking between, my legs just to
Yeah.
try and get your attention off of it. Find a way to induce stress because you'll never 100% imitate standing in front of a deer and having it stare at you at 30 yards and thinking it's 40 or something. You'll never 100% copy that, but
Yeah.
you can do things like, do a bunch of burpees or sit-ups or squats or whatever, and then try and shoot, run, sprint to your bow, whatever it is, like test yourself before you get out in the field. And then I guess my last tip would be uh, set standards for yourself before you step foot into the elk woods or the deer, whatever you're going to go hunt. Tell yourself, here's my minimum. I won't go below this. No matter how excited I get, I won't go below this. And that doesn't matter to me. I don't care if you're excited about a doe, a spike, a 2-point, whatever. Like I'm not on that train of judging you, but I'm just saying set your standard before you walk into the woods. As long as it's legal, I don't care
Yeah.
personally. And no one else should care. You
Yeah.
set your standard. And then the next thing is set your standard of how far you're willing to shoot and test yourself at that distance. Legitimately test yourself. Don't just shoot one head and be like, oh, I got lucky, I'm good to go. Like
Yeah.
constantly shoot at that range and beyond that range to make it seem like for me, I said 70 is kind of my limit, and it has to be really good things going on, no wind or all the good things have to be perfect for me to be able to shoot 70 yards with a broadhead. So
Yeah.
set your standards before you go in the field.
I love it.
That'll help a lot of heartache.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, Johnathan, thanks so much for being on. Make sure to check out Redbeard Outdoors podcast. A lot of great stuff. Just super multidimensional. You talk about health, a lot of family and outdoors, and so many great things. So, thanks everybody for joining. This episode 84, First Generation Bowhunter. If you're liking what you hear, please pass along to another first generation bowhunter, somebody else who might be starting out, and take some time, drop a review on iTunes. That always helps out a ton too, and always appreciate the support.